Good day, everyone. I'm LJ Notarian, 20 years of age, currently stays at Palompon, Leyte, a third-year student of BS Mari Alpha, here to answer the questions on how are the competing theories of creation and evolution going to resolve in terms of existence of the universe and the supernatural beings, and which statement or philosophical principle will you apply to resolve these contradictory claims, and also to briefly explain the existence of the maximally great being in terms of the following, which is the information of DNA, fine-tuning of the universe, the existence of the absolute moral values and duties, and the irreducible complexity. To answer the first question of the debate between the theories of creation and evolution, it can be understood if we break down, um, because the theory of creation is based on the religious belief that says that the universe and everything were made by a higher power or a divine being. This idea comes from the religious texts like Bible and Quran. It talks about how the world and life were purposely created. On the other hand, the theory of evolution, made by the famous Charles Darwin, is a scientific idea. It explains how all the living things have changed over the time through the natural selection. It gets its evidence from biology and from the fossils that are gathered. To resolve this apparent conflict between the ideas, we can apply the philosophical principle of non-overlapping magisteria, or the NOMA, which suggests that the science and the religion deal with separate ideas or separate areas of human understanding. For example, the science focuses on explaining how the natural world works using the evidence and experiments, while religion deals with the questions of meaning, purpose, and the existence of a higher power. By accepting the science and religion that they have different roles, we can see the complementary rather than it can be contradictory. Additionally, the idea of complementarity helps to bridge the gap between these theories. This principle suggests that both creation and evolution can be offer valuable insights into our understanding of the universe. Just as light can be described as both waves and particles, we can think of creation and evolution as two perspectives that together give us a fuller picture of existence. In conclusion, by the using principle of NOMA, or the non-overlapping magisteria, and the complementarity, we can resolve the differences between creation and evolution. We can understand the science and the religion answers different kinds of questions. Science explains how things happen, and religion explores why they exist. By recognizing the value of both approaches, we can appreciate a broader understanding of universe and the possible existence of a supernatural being. This answer helps us to bypass the principle of philosophy that two opposing statements cannot be true at the same time. It is possible for both of them to be wrong, but it is impossible for them to be right, for both of them to be right, because two opposing school of thoughts, which is the evolution and creation, neither can be proven. As to prove something, we have to repeat the same process. That's why this answer helps us to let these ideas coexist by simply implying that religion and science can show us the answer to existence by different views or perspective on what you see. The concept of a maximally great being, often referred to as God, can be understood in relation to several features of the universe and life itself. Here is how to connect each of the following points. In the information for DNA contains a complex and specific instructions that guides the different and functioning of all the living organisms. The information in DNA is often seen as a form of a language or code. Some argue that this level of complexity and information suggests that involvement of a god or a creator who designed life with intention and purpose. As the difficult image has detailed information arising purely by chance, because DNA composed of alleles and a lot of it, and it composes informations that shows different significance of every person or every human being or every living organism in the world. And the fine-tuning of the universe appears to be precisely calibrated to support life with the physical constants and laws, fine-tuned to an extraordinary degree, but that small changes in this constant could make life impossible. The fine-tuning argument suggests that a God or a creator sets these conditions to create a universe capable of supporting life, indicating design rather than random occurrence. Because when the world that we exist in is not at its place, there could be a significant circumstances that humans may not be able to live in this world. Because like if we thought that God is uh, responsible for it, then it could be an evidence that a maxima or a God really exists that creates this universe or the world. And in the existence of the absolute moral values and duties, it suggests that some of our actions are universally right or wrong, regardless of the human opinion. This is sense of objective morality points to a moral lawgiver beyond humanity. The concept of God or the maximally great being provides a foundation for these unchanging moral standards, suggesting that such a being is a source of all the goodness and the moral truths. And that's why we can say that if God doesn't exist, everything is permissible. There could be no wrong or no right at all, because as we uh, traverse the morality or the concept of moral, there could be a social construct on how can one be wrong or how can one be right. Because morally we can be right or wrong, depends on how we see or how we exist in the values that God created for us in order to identify which is right and wrong. And lastly, the irreducible complexity. It refers to the biological system that cannot function if even one part is missing. Such systems seems to unlikely evolve through gradual changes, as they require all the components to work together simultaneously. This idea implies the presence of a God or a maximally great being who created the system as complete or functional units right from the start. For example, our digestive systems or our digestive system. It cannot function without the stomach. It cannot function without the mouth. So it it shows that there is a designer or there's God who designed these systems. Also in our um, nervous systems, because if we don't have brain, we cannot feel anything at all. And if you remove those nerve receptors, we cannot perceive pain or pleasure that helps us to understand or to feel. So it shows that God really knows, or God knows how the system function, and that it cannot, or we cannot reduce a simple organ or a simple matter that will affect the system. In summary, the presence of a complex information in DNA, in the fine-tuning of the universe, the absolute moral values, and the irreducible complexity all points towards the existence of God, who intentionally designed the universe and life within and the purpose and with precision.